So guys, we've had quite some technical difficulties. Hopefully I can get Rachel back on. Let's see. So sorry about that, guys, but thank you so much for staying with me. Hopefully we get Rachel back on and get some of these tips going. There we go, Rachel. Let's see if we get this right the third time around. All right. Oh, Wi-Fi, everything else. Can you hear me? Now I can't hear you, Rachel. Oh, there you go.
Hey. I'm here. I figured out the audio.
Oh, how stressful.
It's all good.
It is. Okay, so I was asking, so there's so many people who are obviously, starting blogs around whether it's food or fashion, whatever their hobby, whatever their interest is. Like, what are some technical first steps and tips that you would give to them?
So I would say, a lot of people kind of default to blogs, and blogging is cool, but I think now it's one of those things you have to really pay attention to the marketplace. And blogging is cool, but actually video content is king right now. When you just think about our attention spans, video is kind of where it's at. So I would actually tell people blogging is great as a platform to make sure you store your content, but I would honestly start with video now because it's so easy. And now most of us have these really advanced smartphones that shoot in 1080p or 4K. So you can really shoot beautiful content straight off your phone.
Right.
And it's a lot more engaging, and you can put it up a lot of different places. Even our interview, we can go ahead and download it and put it up somewhere on YouTube or our Facebook pages. So I would say blogging is cool if you like to write, but if you really want to be seen and to really elevate your brand a lot quicker, I would probably start with video now and use your blog as kind of the gas station to stop and drop your stuff, but then keep moving forward with video content.
Very good point. And truthfully, fun fact. So I actually started a blog, and it was called The Journey of Blue. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of my idea. I was let me chronicle my entrepreneurial journey and write all this stuff down. But I absolutely hate writing. So that was so much of a task and so much of an ordeal. And so I moved away from the blog, and then again, I was well, I want this to share the story more than just myself. And so I was okay, well, let me interview and share the stories of other millennial entrepreneurs. And that's how the interviews and the videos came, and it was an easier transition for me, truthfully. And it was more of a personality fit for me instead of writing,
And you can connect with people a lot easier through video, whether it's interviews or even your angle, how you see the world through your own eyes and how you capture it through video. So, I mean, like I said, video is king right now, and it's just more engaging, and it really allows people to see you for who you are.
Okay. And I am going to dive deeper in this in another Blues Clues, but how do you feel about podcasts? Because I
love podcasts. I am obsessed with them, and I kind of binge on them a little bit, but I think that's great too. And I think the learning curve is a lot easier because, again, you can literally record episodes on your phone and upload them, edit them a little bit, and upload them. Or you can kind of what they call stack content, so you can do literally an interview every day for 30 days and you have 30 episodes. So I'm all about creating really good content. And things, like you said, that's more of a personality fit for you. A lot of people are not comfortable in front of a camera or in front or on video, but they may be cool speaking into a microphone. So that may be an avenue for them. So really, it's it's what you feel. But I think video and podcasts are definitely taking off a lot quicker than a traditional blog.
Yeah, I agree. And then with all of that, because it does seem like so many people are entering this space, how do you stand out? How do you personify your brand? How do you, Just make
So
yourself
this
unique
is,
market,
I get this
right?
question often, and it's really interesting to me because, you know, being in the game for 4 years, I have seen people like leverage my content. I don't like to say steal, but I like to say leverage my content or even content of other people in different types of industries, right? But it's one of those things where you honestly can't, like, you can only get to a certain level until you're your authentic self. And so when it comes to building any brand, you have to be super duper transparent and real about who you are and what you do. And I think for my brand, it was easy. Like, the content that I put out is nothing new, right? Like, I'm telling you about, you know, Thailand. I'm telling you, you know, how to travel for cheap or how to do X, Y, and Z. This is a lot of stuff you can, you know, obviously search for hours on the internet, right? But it's how I deliver it, and me being very honest about, like, I had it all and I gave up all of these really shiny, glittery things to live the life that I want. And this is how I'm doing it. And I'm doing it my way. And so that's how my brain is able to stand out, because I'm like, F it. I did it how I wanted to do it. And you could do it too. Now, there's someone else who may have the same type of content, but their story is completely different. And there may be people who resonate more with that story. Like, I still work, but I still put out amazing content, right? So I think it's one of those things where it's like different strokes, but in order for your brand to take off, you really have to be real and authentic. And that's something that's missing from a lot of people's brands. They look at other people and what they're doing, and it's, you know, like that comparison syndrome that we, you know, especially with social media, like, it's huge, right? And so you're seeing what works for other people and you think it's like a copy and paste, and that's just not, that's not it. That's not, everybody knows it's not real life. Like, nothing is copy and paste. Like, there is no blueprint. Because if there is, it would be, all of us would be millionaires and billionaires, right? So
Right.
I think in order for you to stand out, you just have to be really authentic and honest about who you are, and tell a story. People like stories. And that's why I always start with my story, you know, and being open about it.
Right. No, that's awesome. I think being authentic is the best way. In a world of what copycat, you know, how do you stay true to yourself? How do you, like, be unique? Be, you know, be you amongst everything else that we're seeing and being exposed to. So very true. Also, another thing I want to add is, like, even the level of consistency, right? Because I think we all, like, want that instant gratification of, like, putting out an article or putting out a video, and then we want like, all of the subscribers to come, all the viewers to come, and, like, that's just not how it happens.
It's not
right?
real.
Like,
No, it's not.
it's like, yeah, you have to be in it. Like, you have to be committed, and you have to be consistent and have something that people can come back to.
Right.
So that's really. So in summation, what are the, I guess, give me top 3 things in terms of, like, building a community?
I would definitely, I think we named off 2 of them, is being really authentic and transparent. And I would also say number 2 is consistency, which most people aren't. As much as we say we want something, most people just aren't going to follow through. I mean, quick example, I'm trying to lose 15 pounds, and then you start on this diet, and then come the weekend, you go on a brunch, downing all the mimosas, and, like, your diet is, and then you're going to try again on Monday, right? So most people aren't consistent. And then I would say, like, momentum is, like, being in the moment and making sure there is that momentum, and realizing it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And then I think to add to that is to be in the moment and celebrate those small wins. I think a lot of times, like you said, it's those instant gratification. You know, like, oh my gosh, like, I posted this and I got 1,000 likes, so that's cool. And, you know, celebrate those moments, because there are going to be times where it's ebbs and flows. Like, there's going to be times where it sucks. And then just be present in the fact, like, you know what, this sucks, but let me pull the lesson from it, let me learn, and let me move on. And It took me some time to even celebrate the things that I was doing, because I'm like, oh, it's cool that I got featured in that thing. And then I'm like, okay, but I got to get something done. Versus, like, you know what? I got a feature in this thing, and it's actually a big deal. And let me go celebrate the fact that I've done that, because I've been so consistent, and been so real. And another, I know this is, you asked for 3, I'm going to 5 right now. But the fifth one I would say is don't be stingy. Like, a lot of people are trying to like hoard content or hoard the things that they know. And it's like, stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you said, most people aren't going to be consistent anyway. So you can give away a lot of the things that you know, but most people aren't going to implement on it. But it's more of like this universal law of, you know, reciprocity, like giving and taking. So, you know, you can give and you'll still have more to give, right? And the more you give, the more you receive back. And I think also, as people of color specifically, we are kind of in this mindset where we always feel like we don't want someone stealing from us, or, you know, like if I say this or if I put this out there, someone's going to take it and run away. And that's just not the case. Like, stop being stingy, just help people, and it'll always come back to you. Uh-oh, we can't hear you again.
You know,
I can hear you. I can hear you.
okay. And so you got to keep your frequencies high, right? You got to put out that energy, put out that in the atmosphere, and it'll definitely come back to you. Can you hear me, Rachel?
I can hear you now.
I don't think you can hear me. Okay, perfect. So takeaways for people, whatever, whether it's a blog, whether it's a podcast, a video, like YouTube show, whatever the case may be. I think those are really that. But one thing I also like, I absolutely love about your story is that very early you were able to secure corporate sponsors, right? Monetize your business, which is really great. What do you think? How do you think you were able to do that most importantly?
So for me is, and this is what I tell people that I work with and clients and different things, is you got to ask. A lot of times we're so scared to ask for what we want or what we desire or what we deserve that it's always going to be a no, right? And I think that when it comes down to it, like if you don't ask, it's always going to be no, and it's either one or two things. Yes, it's either no or yes, but here are these other options, and then you can work from there. And you know, before you even get to the asking part and wanting to work with brands and different things, it's very, very, very important that you understand brands and who you are serving. And I find that a lot of people that I work with are like, oh, I want to work with these brands, whatever. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. But how does your brand and what you offer and who you talk to, your audience, aligns with this brand, right? So I'll just give you a quick example. There is this luggage company that I really love, and it's like leather and all this stuff, like really beautiful, handcrafted, but it's for males. So while I love this brand and like the aesthetics of it, I could reach out to them all day, but they're gonna be like, okay, yeah, you cute, but like this is not we don't go together. We don't really match. Right. So and we can give you free things, or we can pay you, to post or whatever, but your audience we're not going to get a return on investment. And so when it comes down to like the business aspect of things, you want to, know who your audience is, and can you deliver on the promise? Can you show that you can make a return on their investment in you? And that is the part that I think a lot of people are missing. They don't understand themselves or their brands. And so it kind of is like shooting blanks in the dark when you just want to work with any old brand because you like them or you heard that they work with someone else.
Right. So identifying the right brands to align with, right? It has to be a good fit. Like, it has to make sense.
Yeah.
So I think that's really good. I think a lot of times also people are fearful because they feel like they don't have like the quarter, like 250,000 like likes and followers and all of this like activity on their social media pages. Yes. Do you think that should like deter people, like, or how do you play up some of those like I won't say weaknesses, but like, how do you play that up a little bit more to your advantage?
Absolutely. So it's funny because I have like several testimonies that I try to share with people. One is this young lady who she told me she had less than 750 followers, and she, was able to work with a brand based off of like the pitch templates that I have. And then one of my favorite clients, Kelly, who is a single mom that travels with her children, got featured on a podcast, and she had less than 500 followers. So, and my first ever paid like blog post, I think I got paid $250 because he was just like, okay, well, how much does it cost? And I was like, $250. Like, I just threw out a number. But this is when I first started my blog. So I literally had like a month in. So I had no traffic. I think that might have been like my third blog post or something like that. So while numbers are cool, they are not the most important thing. And I think, again, it's knowing who you're talking to. And for me, like one of the angles that I always push is like my audience spends X amount of billions of dollars in travel a year. You're not tapping into this market, so you need to F with me. Like you got to. Like ain't nobody else doing it. We gotta work with me. And so really me coming at them like in their face, like, no, this is what I do. Like check me out. You need to work with me because you're not tapping into this market. That really helps me too. It's like, again, you ask and they either say no or they say yes. Like what? Like let's talk. So no, the numbers are not as important, especially like I hate to go down this road, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Now we're this this time where you can buy followers, you can buy engagement. So and agencies look at this and there are tools that they use to make sure that you're real and that you're not, and all that good stuff. But you just really want to build an authentic following, and if it takes a little bit longer, then that's okay. But you just don't want to buy the number to look cool. And then again, the brand doesn't get the return on investment that they thought they would, that you promised them based off of, their based off of your numbers or what you said that you could provide.
Right. It's very good because I think this is really good to kind of like go into detail with people. Like, how are you reaching out to the brands, right? Like, are you reaching out to them via Instagram? Are you like finding a representative or something on LinkedIn? Like, how are you even getting connected with them to have these conversations?
Sure. So I actually have a blog post on ways that you can find the contacts. But for me, I literally go straight for the throat. So I go either to email, and I make sure to find like the right contact. So typically like the marketing person, it'll be like marketing at name, PR at name, media at name, something like that. If it's just like contact info, trash it, sis. You know what I mean? And then also I go straight for social media. Twitter is amazing. I typically, will tweet a brand or a destination. I'm like, hey y'all, I'm trying to come here. Who do I need to talk to? Like what's the email? And they'll literally DM you or message you back like, hey, contact X, Y, and Z at this thing. So social media is amazing, especially for faster results. I would probably say Twitter is probably number one if they're on Twitter, but Twitter, Facebook or Instagram DMs and email, I usually hit them all until I get the response that I want, and then pitch them from there.
Okay, very cool. Also, a life hack that I always share, because a lot of people have such a hard time with finding emails, but there's so many like different plugins that you can use. Like one is called Mail Hunter, I believe, and it's a Google Chrome like plugin. So like you're on LinkedIn or something, like it'll show you the person's like email. Like anyway.
Too. I get on LinkedIn, like I'll look them up on Facebook. I don't care. So I just, if I'm trying to work with a brand, I'll go to maybe not great lengths, and I also have an assistant at this point that also helps me, so that's helpful too. But if you're just starting off, then definitely go to social media and say, hey, I need to talk. Who do I need to email?
Yeah, no, that's true. And like I said, I'm like, nothing is like beyond me at this point. Like I'm willing to do whatever. So there's times where I've like hit people up on LinkedIn, like Facebook, email, and they're probably like, where the heck is this? Who is this girl? Like, and where did
But they
she come
remember
from?
you, though. They remember, and
Yeah.
they know that you're consistent. So.
And most likely they're gonna respond because they're like, okay, let me at least see what she's about. You know, like if she was able to like find me on all of these different channels, like obviously she has some like value add, something that's worth listening to. So don't be afraid to like reach out to people, and like we said, multiple like I don't know, find them everywhere. It's like literally the internet makes everything so much more tangible for us. There's no excuse really not to reach out. But one thing I think is a little bit harder is getting the actual responses, right? So when you're writing these emails or when you're writing these messages to people, like kind of what is your structure? What is your format, right? Like what is a suggestion for a subject line that's going to get your email, opened? Or like what are you putting in the actual body of your email that are capturing people's attention, but also sharing like your value proposition in a very short and like concise way?
So I actually have a pitch bundle, like a pitch template bundle that has like a bunch of different ones. But before I even get to that, I would say the most important thing is to introduce yourself and to tell them like who you are in one sentence. Hey, I'm Rachel. I write for these publications. This is my reach, and this is why I want to talk to you. So I try to keep the emails very short and simple, and then research the brands and say like, hey, I know that you are a sustainable resort in this destination, and my travel platform is all about like sustainable travel. I think us working together would make sense for both of us. This is when I'm coming, or I would love to partner with you. This is what I could do for you. So then list out like, I'm willing to do whatever it is. It could be a review, it could be a video, like, it kind of gets a little deeper than that. But these are the things I could do for you. Let's talk further. Can I call you? Like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes I'm like, we can do this via email, or I could just call you. And I've had friends that's like, yeah, girl, just call my office. Like, just call me and let's talk. And I call them and we just kind of talk through it. And I'm like, okay, cool. We'll upgrade you and all that. So again, it's really being clear about your brands, and then what you're willing to offer them as well. I can't hear you.
Right.
There we go.
And that's a good thing, relationship, right? So it's not like hearing that. So to think about, it has to be mutually like beneficial to both of you all. So you have to think through, like, okay, well, what is the brand going to get out of this, right? Like, what are the deliverables that I can offer? Like you said, like a video or the blog post, or it's going to get X amount of impressions or views. So it's making sure you're really breaking that down and sharing like, okay, like this is a value add. This is a win-win for both of us. Like I'm giving you something in exchange for the money that you're going to give me, right? So it's selling yourself. For sure. Very good. So I think that's all of my questions. I am going to open it up. We have people still tuned in. So guys, if you all are starting a blog, vlog, podcast,
videos, all of that.
All of
Shoot some questions at.
Let us know, like, what are you trying to figure out? Like, what is it that you all would like to know? Like, we're here. And another thing, Rachel, a lot of don't realize, and it may be different in your space, but especially with large corporations, like, you have to hit them up like 10 times sometimes before you get a response, and that's something that's like, you don't even realize. I was talking to someone who has done sponsorships for large scale events, and she was like, she hits people up like different sponsors 10 times or 10 sponsors a day. I was like, what? That's insane. Like, I would have never thought that you would have to reach out to that many people in order to get a response. But it's good to have like an idea of like what it takes to actually get it, get this. And so do you ever under promise to over deliver? That's a big question. Do you ever over promise to under deliver?
So her first question is there follow-up to prove return on investment? So absolutely. If you want to build a great relationship, then after you have created whatever this thing is, I always like to wait a week or two because after like a week, the traffic has died down depending on if they boosted or whatever. But then just follow up with them and say, hey, this is the thing that I promised you. Here you go. So I always make sure to follow up. And this is just in general, like when it comes to business, you always want to follow up. You always want to build those lasting relationships because, industries are really small. So they may be the PR contact at one resort and then they may move on to another one, right? And so you want people to remember you and to work with you. And then she said, do you ever over deliver? All the time, every single time. So if I say, hey, I'll do one post a day, I may do 2 or 3. Just tell them like I'm all in and here are like the different angles. Or here's the different aspects or, whatever that looks like. How often she posts on a blog? So I would say there is no like blueprint for that. Some people have said every day for 30 days or 60 days. I say hell no, like that's entirely too much. Even now, I may do like 1 or 2 blog posts a month at this point. And I think it's one of those things where it's less about the volume and more about the quality. So you can put out like a ton of blog posts or a post every day, but if it's just clickbait or if it's just BS or not good, and it's kind of like, yeah, you have a bunch of posts, but no one's reading it. Versus if you have like one really good blog post that is evergreen, meaning like it's not like time sensitive, people will read it over and over again. So I don't think there's like a number for that. Maybe once a week when you first start out for 2 or 3 months, maybe. That's what I did when I first started off. But I had other content as well because I was traveling. So that kind of helped me and I needed an outlet to get it out. For those without a marketing background, can you recommend any books to help someone define their brand? That's a good question. Why don't you DM me? I'll think about that one because I read a ton of books. But most of my books aren't on the branding side anymore. It's more about like the sales and the funnels and like the kind of technical things. But please send me a DM and I'd be happy to answer that.
I'm interested to hear that question as well, to hear the answer, what your book suggestions are as well. So send that to me and I'll send that to the Blues.
Sure. I will actually go through like my library of books and see what I think is like a good book. Is a website necessary to have a successful business? A website, yes. A blog, no. So those are 2 different things. So you definitely want to have a website, like a place to land where people can land online to find more about your company, how to contact you, any of those things. But you do not have to have a blog to have a successful business. Hopefully that answers your question. If you have a smaller following besides the analytics part, what's another area of your brand that you should focus on when emailing brands for potential partnerships? So again, the analytics are cool, but it's about the alignment. At the end of the day, they want to know if we work with you, if we pay you, if we give you this $600 a night villa on the water, what can we expect in return for that? So the analytics, like I said, are great, but it's more of the alignment and does it make sense for both brands? Is it mutually beneficial? Like, is us going together going to make sense for both of us? Are we both elevating? And that's just kind of how you have to look at it. Tyler, question, when do you think it's acceptable to start working with brands? So again, I started working with a resort in the Philippines, made $250, and I had a blog that was 1 month old. I think Instagram was around, I might have had 300 followers. So it's never too like early to start. However, I will say for those with smaller followings, reach out to smaller brands, right? So if you have like 500 followers, I wouldn't necessarily reach out to Samsonite luggage or like Sephora or any of these like huge brands, because they're gonna be like, okay, girl. Now, if you have a local brand or a brand that's up and coming, like a new makeup line or clothing line or business or anything like that, Ray said, start like on the same level. Like, you don't, people always want to go like higher, but look at the people that's on the same playing field as you, because then y'all can both work together. So it's like, if I have 10 and you got 10, and then now I have 20 and you got 20, you know, and that's more than the 10. So like, look at the people on your same level as well. Oh, thank you. She's tips on getting noticed in the algorithm. I don't know shit about the algorithm. Like, I just play around with it. Typically I post at the same time every single day when I post, and it just does really well for me. I typically post in the morning, or sometimes I'll post around 11:30, which is like right before you go to lunch break and you like waiting for lunch to start, so you like flipping through your Instagram. And then now that they've changed the algorithm, I don't know anymore.
That's really great, Rachel. Have you ever used like any type of like and not like buying followers, but any type of like bot or like service to help you grow your following that will like and comment on different pictures and stuff on your behalf?
So not a bot, but I have someone that manages my social media now. So what that means is that they actually, I don't know what he's doing to be honest, but I make sure that I still engage with my followers. So he can post for me and he can like respond for me, but I am really big on like engaging with people and really connecting on my own. So I try to answer every comment. I answer almost every DM if it's not creepy.
Right.
But as far as like what he does is like, you know, I guess finds like the accounts that align with mine. I'm not really sure because he's actually getting fired tonight. So I say all to say, I have used a service, but huh?
You said you're firing him?
Yeah, girl, that's a whole nother story. But I have used an agency. I have used an agency. I would say if you can afford the agency, if you have the funds to do it, it's an easy way for you to, I guess, grow an account, but not have to worry about all the things that you have to do to grow an account, if that makes sense. So yes, I have, but I don't buy followers. I don't use bots. I don't use anything spammy. So if anything, I will work with the social media agent that specializes in that.
Okay.
So I don't understand the question about travel companies. That's like really vague. Because travel company could be anything. Let's see. I'm into yoga and finance. What are thoughts on multiple ideas on one IG versus multiple Instagram profiles for separate ideas? I would say unless you can make yoga and finances work together, like a yoga meditation on releasing money blocks or something like that, go for it. But if you're like, I don't see yoga and finances tying together unless you're doing like something with mindset. So I would say, you know, separate your brands. And so I'll just take an example about myself. And I'm sure Michelle can give you the same. She doesn't post about her scarf company a lot on Journey with Blue. I don't post a lot about my personal life and like the ratchet memes that I share with my friends on Rachel Travels, because it's very branded. And then you have to realize I'm running a business. So there's brands on there that I work with, and I want to make sure that they are aligned with each other. And like have a post about Dove, right? That, you know, I got compensated for. And then I'm like posting ratchet memes or posting about something that has nothing to do with anything.
Mm-hmm. And that's a good point, Rachel. Once you start opening yourself up to like represent brands, you are an influencer, and what happens in your personal life you know, you have to be mindful of that, that it doesn't conflict with the brand image. Because there's so many people who have great opportunities but lose them because of like they share their political or religious views or the ratchet
Absolutely.
memes or something on their page, and then the brand is like, this is not
That
quite
doesn't
what we
work
paid,
for us.
right?
Exactly. Like this doesn't align with us. We are into this. And you've seen it happen a lot of times in media where, you know, a brand is working with a celebrity and then they say something crazy on their Twitter and they like pull all the endorsements off the shelf, right? So it's you have to be very careful with not mixing brands or like your ideas if they don't make sense together.
Right.
Jay Siobhan said, just not focus on companies that are travel related. I'm not sure what your brand is, so I don't think I can answer that question, but tell me what your brand is and I can answer that question. Question to the both of y'all, someone or work by yourself to start a business. I'll let Michelle take that one.
I can't hear.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Someone asked, she says a question for both of us. I said you should take
and
this
then I
one.
lost you.
Uh-oh.
So sorry, and then I lost you again. So you said someone asked.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Should you start a business by yourself or with someone else? And I said you can take that one.
Oh, so it depends on you, truthfully. You know, there's no wrong or right way to this. I mean, there's plenty of people that are solopreneurs that do their businesses by themselves. When I started my business, my best friend and I went on this venture together, which was, I don't know what Rachel said, but which was really cool for me because, and this is one thing, you should look at the Journey with Blue interview with the Spendify guys because we went into the pros and cons of having a partner. But a lot of the pros were like, you're doing this together. Like you have different strengths, you have different weaknesses, you have someone to bounce your ideas off of. And then you also have someone who's sharing like the financial burden of it all. Rachel is like doing some, where are you, Rachel?
I'm outside. They are doing construction, so they just cut the line to the street. So I promise I pay my bills, y'all.
They didn't cut off the lights. How tragic. But yeah, so it's either way. I mean, happy to talk about that further as well. Feel free to message me on the Journey with Blue. But yeah, really up to you. You just have to kind of dissect that. But I always say a business partnership is literally a marriage, right? So like you got to make sure you align with that person on a personal level, on a business level. Their actions are going to, you know, personal actions reflect you and the business as well. So there's a lot of things to consider, but we'll talk about it later. So we have a lot of questions coming in. Rachel, are you able to see the questions? Rachel? Rachel, are you back? I was trying to follow these questions. I don't know if she can hear me. Can you guys hear? Somebody let me know. You can hear? Okay. So can't hear me, can't hear Rachel. And I'm trying to see if there's any more questions. Sorry, guys. Okay. Well, Rachel, hopefully your lights come back on. Like I said, this Atlanta situation is really crazy. Thank you guys for being so responsive tonight. If you have any questions, her connectivity. Obviously, if you don't have lights, you probably won't have internet either, which sucks, Rachel. She was following the question. So if you have any other questions, let me know. happy to answer. But anyway, so Rachel has definitely given us so many keys tonight on how to grow your blog, podcast, vlog, whatever that is. But most importantly, how do you monetize that, right? Like, how do you actually like see some fruits from your labor? So make sure when you're reaching out to companies that it's a right. That it's a right fit, that you obviously can like bring some value, some realistic value. Oh, so she gave us a lot of helpful tips. Unfortunately, we lost her. But guys, if you have any more questions, let me know. And give me more ideas for Blue's Clues. I always say I'm here for you. I obviously am on this entrepreneurial journey as well. Started the business 2 weeks after I graduated college, Benet Scarves, and didn't know anything. But I had some really amazing like mentors and people in different spaces that helped me grow my business. And that was the whole point of the journey with Blue, is to create a community for other millennial entrepreneurs. But like being so real and being so true in that, and not just the glitz and the glamour of all of this, but really talking through how do we grow our businesses, how do we take it to the next level. So if you have any other suggestions on what the next Blue's Clues should be, feel free to hit my line, like DM me, email me. Oh, you got likes, girl. Yay. Welcome back, Rachel.
Hey y'all, sorry about that. They're doing construction. I told y'all I pay my bills. I was like, oh, I hope these people don't think I didn't pay my light bill, because I do.
Right. Like, meanwhile, why are you giving money tips, right? But I think that was all the questions, right, Rachel? I wasn't following all the
I think I missed some of them, but hey, if y'all have any other questions, feel free to follow me at Rachel Travels. So yeah, then we can move forward. Now, I'm not going to answer 100 questions because I know people try to do that, but I can answer some of your like big overarching questions about different things. So yes. Yeah, I told you I paid my light bill.
Yeah.
Electricity is paid. But I don't do anything else. Mortgage and electricity is definitely paid for.
Cover. Also, Rachel, you also have a course going more in depth with like all of the sponsorship stuff that we talked about, right? Like going into examples of proposals, of emails. So all super helpful stuff. I'm going to put a link of that in my bio. So make sure y'all check that out. She has so much value that we couldn't obviously share in like our Instagram live. So make sure y'all are checking that out to grow your businesses as well. But Rachel, we had so many technical difficulties, girl. But we made it through. We pushed.
We made it through. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun, even with all the little hiccups and stuff. So I really appreciate you, Michelle, for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so guys, tune into the next Blue's Clues. Like I always say, if you love me like you say you do, subscribe to The Journey with Blue YouTube. A lot of things underway. So thank you so much for staying tuned. Thank you for bearing with us. We've gone through, but most importantly, take some things away and really start growing your business, right? So until next time, guys, love you on this journey.
Bye.
Have a good night.